Program. On the line with us, our buddy David Pepper, the lawyer, writer. His latest book, Saving Democracy, a user's manual for every American. Political activist, former elected official, adjunct professor, University of Cincinnati College of Law, served as chair of the Ohio Democratic Party up until 2021, and writes a brilliant Substack newsletter. It's absolutely free. You need to check it out. davidpepper.substack.com. It's Pepperspectives. And, of course, on Twitter, David Pepper. David, welcome back to the program. I was so excited that you were coming on that a half hour ago I introduced you thinking that we had you on the line. But I'm so glad you could join us.
Sorry I wasn't there for you.
Yeah, it was rather embarrassing, actually. First time I've done that in probably 10 years. But anyway, I just lost track of time. Project 2025 is not just national, they're going local. That's the headline of one of your recent Substack newsletters that I thought was just brilliant. You want to tell us about this? Give us the backstory and then what's happening right now.
So which aspect of it? I'm sorry.
That Project 2025 is not just a national scam and scheme, that it's also being played out locally all across the country.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm trying to make sure. Sometimes Democrats make a mistake that we sort of say, read the plan, and we throw out talking points. And I think oftentimes we don't really communicate well when we do it that way. And so what I'm trying to do in different ways is make it clear, how Project 2025 would really work on individual lives. And I hate to say it, the reason I feel like I know this so well is because so much of it is already happening.
Especially in Ohio.
Yeah, in red states like Ohio that are gerrymandered and corrupt, where they've been attacking democracy for years, we see what it looks like and what they want to do nationally playing out right now here. And one example is, basically, and Donald Trump said this the other day with Elon Musk, they want to do to the nation's schools what they're doing in Ohio, where they're giving $1 billion plus away to families to keep going to private schools they've already gone to and they could afford, while public schools are underfunded. And over time, that's literally going to have a lot of money going into religious schools and far less money going to public schools. It's already happening, and the results are so twisted, they're shocking. And what does Project 2025 do? It says we're going to take the federal money, we're going to get rid of the Department of Education, we're going to take the federal money that we put into public schools with high poverty rates, and we're going to drive it mostly into more vouchers to double down on these ridiculous results in states like Ohio. So this is not even a preview. It's literally happening in these states. And so when some people ask us, will they really do these things? And the answer is, well, yeah, because they already are. When they've had the power, the gerrymandered power to do some of the worst parts of Project 2025, they've already been doing them in states like Ohio. So they're serious, and we already know what the results kind of look like.
Well, the Supreme Court has been helping them too. I mean, the Dobbs decision, that's right out of Project 2025. The blowing up the Chevron deference, right out of Project 2025. I'm sure.
Alabama and IVF decision.
Yep.
The Alabama IVF decision tracks what the people who wrote that report, literally on the Heritage Foundation, say they want to do with IVF.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. So what's your advice to people? I mean, what can we or should we do about this? And how long do you think that these red states that are putting into place these extraordinarily unpopular things, from abortion bans to school vouchers, how long are they going to be able to hang on?
So my advice is, and I did one of my little whiteboards on this the other day, I think Tim Walz has come up with something pretty good when he said that J.D. Vance and Trump are weird, okay? And weird, the only risk with weird is it understates how bad it is. It's toxic, it's extreme. But I think people are starting to see, who are these people? Why are they saying crazy things about, women, or why are they pushing policies that get into our bedroom? I think our challenge, and this is a challenge for a party that too often only looks at the top of the ticket, is to show that if you think J.D. Vance is weird, wait till I show you the state legislatures around this country who aren't only talking like J.D. Vance, but they're passing laws that reflect that. And I think if we do our job, we take this brand that I think people are starting to see, and we say, don't just vote against Trump and Vance or Project 2025 because you think it's so crazy. Know that in your own state, laws reflecting those ideas are already being passed by people as nuts as they are. So vote against them as well, recruit to run against them as well, and help those candidates as much as you might want to help people that are more famous for their top of the ticket. You want to really win for democracy, make people see that up and down the ballot, it's all weird at this point. It's all toxic. We have to beat all of it. Winning the presidency, as important as it is what's the term? Necessary but not sufficient. We've got to go up and down the ballot. With the energy we're seeing, by the way, there's a great opportunity to do exactly that.
Now, for 6 years, you were the chair of the Ohio Democratic Party. We're talking with David Pepper, whose brilliant newsletter you can find at davidpepper.substack.com. And I'm curious your thoughts on how this election is going to play out this fall in Ohio.
So someone asked me that earlier. The energy we are seeing, and we're seeing in Ohio from Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, is it enough for them to win Ohio? I don't know. I would still say that's sort of an underdog possibility, but it's certainly not the majority. I would not say that's sort of likely, but could it happen? Yeah. But when you think about democracy and the way I just talked about it, the energy from Harris and Walz is a huge help to Sherrod Brown. If you had had a collapse in energy on our side, Sherrod, although he's a very weak opponent, that might have endangered him. I think the energy that we're seeing now puts him in a better place. But we also have 3 Supreme Court races in Ohio on the ballot. It's like the Wisconsin race 2 years ago, but it's in Ohio. We're the only state in the country where we could flip to our favor the Ohio Supreme Court. And when that Supreme Court is going to be the one determining what a fair district looks like potentially, or what reproductive freedom looks like, which we all voted for last November, that decision about who's running a court is as important for Ohio's democracy as any race on the ballot. If Kamala Harris and Tim Walz keep the margin pretty close, it puts all 3 of those races in play. We have a history of Democrats overperforming in Supreme Court races. So if we lose, let's say we don't win the state for Kamala, but it's 4 or 5, we can win those races. And the last one is, we have a ballot measure in Ohio to end gerrymandering. If we can keep it close to the top, that ballot measure is probably in pretty good shape. So the energy we're seeing from them, is it sufficient to flip Ohio blue for the presidential? That's, again, an uphill battle. But I think it's putting all these other races in play. And if we have a close presidential and Sherrod wins and we beat gerrymandering and win that court, we have had one of the most important years in democracy in Ohio in my lifetime. So there's a lot of excitement about all the things on the ballot and some other races as well.
Yeah. It seems like, a time of just absolutely remarkable opportunity here in the United States. Somebody called earlier and asked if some of these election deniers that have been put in state and county positions were to refuse to certify elections at the local level rather than the state level. Yeah. Could that alter the outcome of congressional races, both for state House and Senate and for the U.S. House?
I have not studied the law on that enough. I worry. One thing we have to all remember is from the top down, but especially the top, in their mind, the consequence for Trump of losing is he worries he's going to jail.
Yep. Well, that's why he's talking about going to Venezuela. He told me.
Yeah, that tells us something.
Yeah.
And if someone is worried they're going to go to jail if they lose, they're willing to break laws to make sure they don't lose. So although there's a feeling of optimism, there also needs to be a reality that we are up against people who view the stakes so dramatically for them and in some ways their personal freedom that they're going to do just about anything. And we need to have sort of the lawyers ready, the courts ready, be ready to fight ridiculous disinformation. They will, we have created an incentive system where Donald Trump literally has no disincentive to go further than he's ever gone because he's probably going to face criminal sanction either way.
Yeah.
The other incentive, though, that puts on us, and this is going to sound strange, but I think it's true. The bigger the margin, the less the stuff they're going to do that's inappropriate or worse matters.
Yep.
Make it so that if Donald Trump wants to call Georgia looking for votes, he's not asking for 11,000, and he'll make that call again if he needs to. Make it so that he's asking for 80,000, which would be ridiculous, and so ridiculous it wouldn't even go anywhere. So I think when we see a 2-point lead in a poll, knowing what they will do if it's close or if they're losing, do not be satisfied. If Pennsylvania is close and there are a bunch of votes out, which the law allows there to be, at 11 p.m. that night, they will already have begun to cause trouble. So make the margin as big as you can yes, we'll fight it in court. We'll fight that out. I worry about some of the courts in this country. But the best solution is record high turnout in margins that make all that stuff look silly because the race is a blowout. That should be our goal, knowing that they will do just about anything, disinformation, actions that aren't lawful, to avoid the consequence that will be so dramatic for them if they lose.
Brilliant. David Pepper, check out his Substack newsletter, davidpepper.substack.com. David, thanks so much for dropping by. It's always great talking with you.
Of course. Good to see you. Take care.
Back at you. Thank you.